Shocks already throughout the tournament, with some of the biggest names in the game tumbling by the wayside. Former Waterloo champion Tommy Johnston and Kathy's husband Graham Wilson knocked out early in the competition. The two-time All-England champion ousted in round 2. But we still had a fascinating last 8, with Chris Kelly, Lee Lawton, Bill Holdsworth and Michael Leach emerging to take their places in the semi-finals. Leach, one of the game's most colourful characters, has been wooing crowds since the 60s and beat off the challenge of local hero Bill Holdsworth to take up a place in the final. Former Spring Waterloo champion Lee Lawton was all but out, trailing 2019 to Chris Kelly. But when Kelly crucially missed a chance to win, Lawton pounced to edge through by the merest of margins, 21-20. So two of the game's most important players in one of the just tournaments, the prize, blah, 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 okay, etc., etc. Yeah, okay. And then I'm over to Keith Rudman. Greens Park Homes, Bridlington Masters. Well, welcome back to the Greens Park Homes Bridlington Masters 2008 from Dukes Park Bowling Club. So we have our women's champion, and now it's on to the men's event. And we've had shocks throughout the tournament, with some of the biggest names in the game tumbling by the wayside. Former Waterloo champion Tommy Johnston and Kathy's husband Graham Wilson knocked out early in the competition. The two-time All-England champion ousted in round 2. Well, we still had a fascinating last 8, however, with Chris Kelly, Lee Lawton, Bill Holdsworth and Michael Leach emerging to take their places in the semi-finals. Leach, one of the game's most colourful characters, has been wooing crowds since the 60s and beat off the challenge of local hero Bill Holdsworth to take up a place in the final. Former Spring Waterloo champion Lee Lawton was all but out, trailing 20-19 to Chris Kelly. But crucially, Kelly missed a chance to win it and Lawton pounced to edge through by the merest of margins, 21-20. So two of the game's most well-known players, both with the credibility to go on and win the title. Let's get their thoughts. They're in discussion with Keith Rudman. Yep. So we're all set for the 2008 Bridlington Masters. Sorry, I'll do that again. So we're all set for the 2008 Greens Park Homes Bridlington Masters here at Dukes Park Bowling Club. We've got the finalists, we've heard their thoughts. Let's get to the commentary drop. Commentary drops. So we're all set for the men's final. We've heard the views of the two finalists. Joining me in the commentary box is 1997 Waterloo champion Andy Kens. Don't need any more takes? Okay, mate.
Cheers.
Yeah, exactly the way. After I've sat down, why didn't you say that before? I don't know. Don't feel. Absolute zip. Oh, just comfort ride. Yeah.
Should I have brought a pen as well?
Don't worry about it.
I won't.
I'm just going to score it because there won't actually be a caption coming up here.
Right,
so
okay.
I'm going to score it so we can keep checking on the scores and things.
No problem.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fine. Surely. Actually, who is playing in which colour? Lee's in blue. Okay, we'll mention that.
Thanks very much for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Now come to the highlights of the extended weekend, the final of the men's main competition. Please welcome onto the green, number 35, Lee Lawton from Failsworth. And his opponent, number 116, Michael Leach from Hobbital.
So Lee Lawton from Failsworth in the blue against Michael Leach in red from Hoversall. About to get the 2008 Greens Park Homes Bridlington Masters underway. And immediately we notice that Lee is donned in blue, the colour of his favourite team, Manchester City, and indeed when the suggestion that he was going to be wearing red was mentioned, well, let's put it this way, he almost refused to play. Lee Lawton, who is well known throughout the game as being the, I think it's fair to say, most prolific player in the game. He seems to be at every tournament, almost omnipresent, isn't he?
That's correct. He certainly likes to put his time and effort into this game. And he gets what he deserves out of it. He's a very good player. I know Lee very well, and he has a great all-round game, and he'll love occasions like this.
Andy Cairns, a brilliant bowler in his own right, but I suppose you're regretting being alongside me rather than out there on occasions like this.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
First blood goes the way of Lee Lawton. Just the one. Mike Leach, who has been, I think it's fair to say, one of the game's most colourful characters. He's one of those players who crowds either love or hate. Perhaps you can explain why that is, Andy.
Well, Michael's one of these players who likes to entertain, and he likes people to watch his games, and he doesn't really mind how he gets you watching, whether it's with his great bowling or with his antics on the green. You've already seen him run balls up and get close to the balls. There are people that don't like that. I personally love it, and I wish more bowlers would do it. But we do have to play to rules sometimes, don't we?
And to get technical about rules, as Michael Leach puts in an absolute beauty, what is the official stance on getting too close to your ball?
Well, the official rule is you're not allowed to try and alter your course of your ball by trying to accelerate it or decelerate it. So if you think that running behind it and stamping your foot behind it makes it go further, then you're not allowed to do it. But if the referee thinks it doesn't make a blind bit of difference, you can do it as much as you want.
So far there's no indication from the referee that he has any problem, and indeed it is 2 for Michael Leach, who in these early stages shades it ahead by 2-1. This was the pick of the bowls from that end, and you can't ask for more than that.
I'm surprised that Michael's actually come as far as this. He does tend to play edges and up to the crown, and those seem to be his favourite marks. But I think he's just trying to see if Lee's up to playing this sort of distance on this sort of green. The corners are extremely difficult. The green itself is in beautiful condition, and as you can see there, the ball went off quite, some speed. Lee's played a reasonable ball here, just leaving it short, which is where you want it. It's going to be a good ball there on this mark.
Even the game's finest players can sometimes not know the intricacies of a green they're playing on, and this is pretty unfamiliar to everyone who started the week, isn't it?
That's true. I can't believe more than, say, 10 or so players in the competition will have ever played this green before, and that is an absolutely remarkable ball on this length and on this mark. It's he likes it, does Lee. It looks a reasonable pace as well.
Coming, it's coming. He's got it.
Yeah, great ball.
We're all square at 2-all.
I think it's been one of the highlights of the competition this weekend is the state of the greens. They're absolutely beautiful. It's very rare we come across greens as nice as this in parks or even at some clubs, that spend a lot of money on the greens. These are absolutely perfect.
Yeah, credit to all the staff here at Dukes Park Bowling Club. It's been getting nothing but compliments. I haven't heard one dissenting voice, and that is a tribute to everyone connected with the club.
There's certainly no reason why the players can't play the green well anyway. It's one less excuse for them anyway.
Absolutely, and another excuse is the weather, and there's no excuse there either. Perfect conditions.
What has added slightly to the problems the players have is that they are playing with new Taylor bowls. They're coloured red and blue specifically for this event, and it's just, I think it will depend which player gets used to them the quicker. There's nothing wrong with the bowls, it's just they'll be slightly different to the ones that they normally use.
Just agreeing on the number here. Michael Leach knows he's got 1. He has 2.
Lee normally uses yellow Taylor bowls. He's had for a long time, certainly as long as I've known him. And Mike, he also plays with Taylor bowls, and again they're quite an old battered pair, so they might actually be better off playing with these today.
What do you think, with his love of Manchester City, he might have adopted a blue set a long time ago, wouldn't he?
Well, I do know that he did have a pair at one point, but I don't think he enjoyed them too much, so he got rid.
Never get on telly again.
So Mike Leach ahead by 4-2. But Lee looking as though he's stolen a march there.
It's another great ball.
K9 here. Day off from Doctor Who.
Looks a reasonable road. He's playing for the ball or the jack.
He'll take either. He'll get
Just
none.
underneath. Great effort.
Chance to double up.
Slightly short to me. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, in so doing, he would have made it 4-all, but as you say, he's not quite got there. But he has reduced it to 4-3. Well, Lee Lawton, if he doesn't win 7 or 8 tournaments a year, I think he's had a bad year. I mean, one thing that you do get when you enter as many tournaments as he does is a few successes along the way as well. Pressure is not something he ever exhibits.
That's correct. It's not the fact that he enters so many, it's the fact that he's so consistent in all of them. He's bound to lose 1 or 2 of them somewhere along the line, but he does very, very well, and he's a well-liked player on the circuit.
Michael Leach was described in many ways as the best player never to win the Waterloo. He's got to, I think, 5 semi-finals and never quite got to the final itself, and that is often the way that people are judged, by their performances in the Waterloo.
Mike's been around an awful long time. He's played at the very highest level, and even now he's still playing right up there. He struggles, and if he has to play a lot of games in a day due to, you know, age and tiredness and that sort of thing, but he loves these sorts of events. You know, a big crowd. Unlucky ball again. He loves these sorts of events.
1 to Lee, and we're level again at 4-4. Not seen too much of the antics so far. Is that normally an indication as to how things are going, the level to which Mike Leach bounces around the green?
That's quite true. The more in control he is, the more you'll see him showboating. I think he's realised that he's early on in the game. It's very tight. Lee's playing very well. They're both playing very well, and probably not just the right time to try these sorts of things yet. I'm sure with Lee wanting to play these longer lengths, when Michael gets in, he'll be looking at changing the game, and I think that's when you might just see a bit more of him come out of his shell a little bit.
Another wonderful lead by Lee, and well, Mike's unlucky there.
It's a great effort.
Jack booked it, I think it's empty. Jack Park. I can't foul. I don't know if they're wrong goodness. I don't know why.
Holding 2.
He's just playing a percentage ball here, making sure he's reaching the head, hoping for a connection with something, preferably the jack.
He's got neither.
Another great effort.
So 6-4, 2 to Lee.
That's what you'll find with both of these players. They're very good at playing the right ball. They won't be playing short when they're not in. They make sure they give each ball a chance.
That was the one that Mike almost took the end with, but he was unlucky to brush the jack and just go beyond it. So he trails 6-4, Mike Leach to Lee Lawton. And so far, when Lee has had the jack, he has led very, very well.
I think he's picked up these new balls, and he obviously likes them.
Well, there you are. Sometimes as a commentator you'll say something that goes wrong, but to back up my point about him leading well, Lee Lawton's bang on the money. Mike had a misjudgment there, I think it's fair to say. It's a high crown they're coming over the top of, isn't it?
It is very, I'm not exactly sure how high it is. I mean, I've only played the green a couple of times. It must be at least 16 inches, I would imagine. And it does tend to throw your bowls off if you're not just on the road. We're talking a matter of millimetres making a huge difference at the other end.
Well, Mike's coming to have a look at this. What's in his mind, do you think, Andy?
He's just wanting to know how close the balls are, whether he needs to play what we call a deaden and try and beat them with a perfect ball, or whether there's anything for striking. It may be possible he could get both of those balls out with the right connection, and he's just checking that out. He's a very good tactician, is Mike.
What would you opt for?
Me personally, I'd probably just ramble at them and miss them, miss them both.
Well, he's going with weight. He's taken one.
I think that was probably the best option. I mean, where that jack is, it's very, very fast there. They're hard to stop bowls. If you notice, Lee's both of his balls were short to the jack, which is ideal when you're going downhill. Makes your opponent reach up and pass the jack.
Just one for Lee then, and it is 7-4 to Lee Lawton.
The longer Mike goes without the jack, the more doubts will just be creeping into his mind about various things, the bowls, how well his opponent's playing, and all these things add up to the pressure. But he's used to it. I'm sure he'll come back anytime soon.
Well, it's the 5th end in a row that Lee has been in control of, and probably the 5th end in a row where his lead has been within a foot or two of perfection. It's all very well having the jack, but if you don't lead well, then you can soon lose it.
That's right. They're just heading into the heavier corner really on the green. It's important that they get there, but once they do get there, it can run just past the jack. Very tricky part of the green.
Doesn't like that, does he?
Oh, it's well short. Everyone sends one of those now and again.
So a chink of light for Mike Leach. Is it coming? No.
Just missed the land.
It's another one, and it is 8-4 to Lee Lawton. It's always a bonus when you win with a bowl that's not quite as tight as you would like.
That's right. What you've noticed though is the last few ends Mike's had to reach up at the end, and if you're having to do that at virtually every end, you start losing your length, and you just wonder if you start playing the right ball or the wrong ball, and the doubts start creeping in. He's left a little bit of room.
So for the 6th end in a row, Lee Lawton has led off, and for the 6th end in a row, Mike has to try and find something with his final ball.
I think he'll be confident of beating that ball, but looks slightly overplayed again.
And that's another bonus for Lee Lawton. 9-4 now. This is a damaging phase.
As far as the bookmaker was concerned, this isn't a surprise. Lee was 6-4 on favourite at the start of the final, and he could have had even money on Michael. So very popular bet was Lee.
So Lee Lawton leading by 9 points to 4 against Mike Leach. Lawton in the blue from Failsworth and Leach from Hothersall in red. Lawton known as one of the most consistent players in the game. You can pretty much bank on him in any tournament he's in to offer you some sort of each-way bet. And I'm sure many did at the start of this competition too. And Mike, who in his probably 4 decades of bowls has always been known as one of the game's entertainers, but one of those bounding antics for which he is so well known has been in evidence so far. But maybe they'll start to be so now as he picks up a couple and reduces the deficit to 9-6.
It was a very slack end really from Lee there. Gave Mike plenty of room. And Michael took every opportunity and coupled up for 2. And this is the sort of game I expected him to play from the start. He's found an edge and he's going to try and exploit it. Doesn't like the ball, thinks it's too far, and it is. Going to the very quick part of the green.
Well, after having surrendered a 4-2 lead, so then trail 9-4, Mike, with the jack back in the hands again, really need to take advantage this end, and I think he'll be mightily disappointed with what's just occurred.
Well, he's played a really good ball on the mark. It was fairly certain he'd send one too far the first time into this corner, but he's played virtually a perfect ball.
Can he get 2?
He likes this one as well.
Oh, yes, he can.
Yep.
It's a good end for Lee Lawton.
I think the doubts I was talking about earlier with about the bowls and various other things have just got to Michael a little bit. He needs to just put them to the back of his mind and dig in, so to speak.
Eleven 6 to Lee Lawton.
All on his pace going into this corner. Looks a good pace to me. Yeah, great ball.
Wonderful ball from Mike Leach. And he needed it, really. 5-point deficit to make up. But all his good work is undone in one clunk of the bowls. And we will start all over again at the far end, with the score as it was at 11-6. Lee Lawton again will have the jack.
And he played the right ball. He gave it every chance. A slightly better connection, he would have ended up with 2 and put real pressure onto Mike. As it was, he killed the end, and it gets him back in his favourite corner mark, where he had that great run.
It does seem destructive, but it is a vital weapon to have in your armour, isn't it?
That's right. I mean, it wasn't an out-and-out strike, but he just made sure he was far enough to, if he connected wrong, to clear the end. But if he'd have connected right, the ball he'd sent with pace would have stopped on the green. It's a difficult shot to play. Mike's just struggling with the pace coming into this corner.
Lee Lawton doing the Leach-like chasing, the stomping, urging it on, and it's got there.
Another great ball. He's putting so much pressure on Michael.
Is he going to try and bump everything off? I think he is.
He likes it. Just over the top.
Two more to a satisfied looking Lee Lawton. 13 points to 6 in front.
And it's often the case that a player that struggled early on in the competition comes through to win it. I know in his second round game he was 20-10 up, and his opponent got back to 20 all and played a very good ball in the full corners, and Lee just managed to beat it with his first ball, and he scrambled through.
And of course in the semi as well, Chris Kelly was all but in the final, and 2019 up, and Lee came back again.
That's right. Often means your name's on the trophy.
Mike Leach has to delve into all those years of experience, or this game might run away from him.
I don't think he'll be giving up just yet. And a few more ends without the jack, and maybe panic stations. He's just got to keep playing the right ball and try to beat Lee's leads. But when he's playing as well as he is, it's very, very difficult.
And that was unlucky. You need a bit of luck too, don't you? And that promotion has just made it an even trickier state of affairs for Michael Leach.
It gives Lee a slight problem. He can't really afford to play up to the end in case he touches Mike's ball and put it in. Whereas for Mike, it does give him a shot now. He can play that yard over and try and promote his own, or even sit out Lee's ball for 2. This looks like it's just underneath the land, and it should just fall away now.
It has indeed fallen away. Well, he holds one, Lee, but Mike fancies this one, I think. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Wonderful shot from Michael Leach, just when he needed it.
He's just asking if he's made 2. I think that would have been very fortuitous. That's a superb connection, hit the ball perfectly onto Lee's ball to count the end. Not just hard enough for 2. A great ball. Let's hope that makes the game a little bit more competitive.
13-7. Michael Leach trails, and the smile is back on his face. And that's good to see. This is the kind of reaction that we like to see from Michael Leach. Animated.
Just trying something slightly different now. He's come away from his edges and playing up to the crown. He's just trying a nice round peg mark. Looks like a reasonable ball. Yeah, he'll be happy with that if it stops now. It's a good ball there. He's trying to force Lee to play up and hopefully send it off the green, but he's not just managed that, might even win it now. He's stuck out.
Michael Leach still holding.
Thinks he's too far now, does Michael?
I think he's given that one up. It tried for him.
Not sure how many it is. If it's only 1, Lee will definitely strike at this ball. He may even strike if it's 2 with how they're situated. It just looks like the single. I think he'll probably strike at them.
It is 1 according to Michael. Lee's coming to have a look. Is he? No, he's quite happy to take the information.
two or three off before then.
Yeah.
Come three. We were now two
Here
behind
he comes.
5 minutes.
He's watching it. No, he's just missed it. Only just.
And one more to Michael Leach, chipping away at the deficit. And it is 13-8 now to Lee Lawton.
John Lodge. You know John Lodge?
Lee's actually one of the few players who hasn't stayed over this weekend. He's travelled from his home in Failsworth every day. He even played in a competition at Cleckheaton last night.
Well, there is evidence, if it were needed, of his prolific nature, attending tournaments, that in the middle of one of the richest prizes in the game, he can nip off and just perform at Cleckheaton.
Correct. He did lose, but
well, he's not losing this one at the moment. Leading by 5, 13-8, but Michael Leach has started to chip away at that advantage, which was 13-6.
I bet they said something about you being married today.
I'm not just going to get there. Michael's just made a comment to somebody in the crowd about the difference in bias of the ball, so it has got stuck in his brain a little bit.
Well, things like that do when you're trailing, and less so when you're winning, sure.
Correct. He likes this, does Lee? It looks on a good road. Yep.
Well, in boxing, they'd call that throwing in the towel. It wasn't quite that from Michael Leach, but it was an admission that Lee was in, and it was 14-8. There it went. That's the kind of moment that has divided opinion, shall we say, regarding those who watch Michael Leach. You either love it or loathe it.
He's played a reasonable lead, Lee, again.
Did you see anybody clapping, Derek?
I want to recall one end where he's not really made Michael have to play a good ball to get in.
That's a good reply. I think it's just gone out though. Not much in it.
For him, I think he's falling out of love with it.
Likes it. And it looks a good pace. Just needs it to just bend a little bit more. Not sure.
Hard to tell, isn't it?
He likes two, does Lee? This is a big ball.
I think Michael knows it too. Has a concerned look on his face. Urging it on, urging it on.
Just gone tight.
No, is that two?
Well, he's claimed two. Actually, Michael have a look when he gets up there, but these two are very good judges. Michael just be wondering what he has to do now to get in. He's not playing bad, but he's playing better.
Yeah, 16-8, it was two. Lee fancied it. Michael said yeah. It's a big advantage, 8, but in whatever sport you're in, there's a big difference between getting close to the line and getting over it, and that's when it's all about your mental strength, isn't it?
That's right. As I said, Michael won't give this game up just yet. he'll be thinking it's only 4 good ends and he's back in the game. Just still struggling with his pace into that corner.
Lee's after it again.
It's another good ball to me. Just off the road, but a good length. Bit of room for Michael.
There's a chance here. Really does have to start taking them, and
the road was right. It was a poor 2 to give away, really.
8-18 in favour of Lee Lawton. And Michael Leach needs to pull something from the depth of his vast knowledge of this game. In a strange way, the pressure's off him now. It's almost a case of trying something maybe a bit unusual.
At this stage, a lot of the time, all you're trying to do is get a reasonable score, make it look good for the internet and the newspapers, and you just hope you can find a mark that you like and your opponent doesn't. And if you score a couple of ends, it builds up the doubt in the other player's mind.
Well, that was another example of the misfortune that has befallen Michael Leach. It was a really good opening bowl from him, and it then flicks away and Lee's still in. And then Lee follows up as if to rub salt into the wound, and I think he still holds shot. He needs this, Michael, doesn't he?
He does. It looks a reasonable pace. I think it's just enough to get in. He'll be happy with that.
Yeah, he's in. 18-9 now to Lee Lawton.
Still persisting with a round peg mark under the crown. And they sent the jack off.
You don't often see that, but he wanted to get as close as possible to the end, but obviously that wasn't what he had in mind, and it'll be Lee's choice as to where the jack ends up.
I think it's fairly certain where he'll be going.
Absolutely. It's a big mistake, really. I mean, even allowing for the tension of a final and the gap between the two, it was just a glimmer of an opportunity for Mike to move to a patch of land that he was more comfortable with.
It never helps any time sending the jack off, really.
No.
And it's just a little bit careless.
By Lee standards, that wasn't one of his finer bowls today. He might get close with this.
He should be very happy with this one. Does give Lee a 2 shot. If he plays the right bowl, any connection on the bowl, take it out, and it'll count 2. Big effort here.
It's not
very
far
close.
off. It's not far off.
Oh. He's found the gap.
Just flicked off Michael Leach's bowl.
Yeah, he's played the right ball here. Any connection on that red ball takes it out, and unfortunately he's just got the thinnest of glances off it.
It's 18-10. One more for Michael Leach, and I'm absolutely certain that if this crowd were impartial before, they'll now start hoping that Michael Leach can get back into this so they get a bit longer game to be entertained by.
He's decided to changes game plan totally. Forget the edges, forget the crown. He's taking Lee back. The opposite peg in the corner they've just come from. This is something that the old timers used to do back in the day. It was a sign of bravado almost.
Certainly worth making the point about Michael Leach that there was a stage in his not too distant past where he had a dreadful case of the yips and he was unable even to release the bowls for something like 2 or 3 years. He took out of the game, didn't he?
That's right. He was right at the very top of the game, and it was in the mid-80s he started struggling actually releasing the bowls. You just get something in your head and you can't let go. He took some time out, remodelled his action. He's come back and he's not the same player as he was. He was a top player, but he's still an excellent player, still competing at the highest level.
The yips can hit anyone in any sport, and anybody who comes back from it and can still play at the highest level deserves an awful lot of credit. And that credit goes to Michael Leach. Has he got the end? No. Lee Lawton just creeping in. Oh no, it's gone away. I was wrong.
Found a quick bit. Didn't want to stop.
It seemed like it was Lee's comfortably, but
maybe
just ran by.
Maybe that'll give Mike a little bit of hope and maybe fire him up a little bit for one last push. It's not over at 18, of course, but you'd rather be 18 than 11.
So 18-11. It was 18-8. So a little bit of momentum is being built up by Michael Leach.
This is good again. He won't be disappointed with this ball. It's not a bad ball on the mark.
Now there's a bit of a gallop from Michael Leach.
Mike likes this. Just needs to miss that ball of Lee's. Yes. Good ball, line 2. He's after this. It's a good pace. If he's on the road, it wins it.
I think it is on the road. It's 1. It's 19-11. It was a big bowl, that one. And I wonder if that might have been the decisive blow of the final. Shot against him. And he finds just when he needs it most. And takes him possibly within an end of the title.
He certainly led the better of the two, and that's what usually wins you the game, the leading.
That's another good lead. Heaping the pressure on his opponent.
Michael's watching this, he must like it. Just slipped the jack and gone out again.
So little in it between perfection and dejection. That looked perfect, and then it just seemed to gather and off it went.
Should get another with this ball. The pace looks great again. Yeah, nice to lie game that.
So Lee Lawton has the 2 he needs to claim the title. And Michael Leach has to find one here.
Well, he doesn't like it. Turned his back on it. Over and out.
It's all over. Lee Lawton, who has led for a significant part of this final, becomes the Greens Park Homes Bridlington Masters champion 2008 by 21 to 11.
Congratulations to the winner.
And Michael Leach knows
of the inaugural
that the better man won today.
Lee Lawton from Failsworth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same again.
Your permanent 5 minutes long presentation, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Bow out. Okay. Okay, well I'll just, do you want me to turn the vision again and say, so a wonderful final and worthy winner, and then just go straight into it? Okay. Yeah, they're coming. Bring us in late. Okay.
He's back home at the end, does he?
I don't know the answer. Who's doing it?
Tony Hargreaves, the States manager.
I think Jim's doing that. I think.
Yeah, might as well. Do the same as it.
Okay. Just stay there. Lee first.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So we have our men's champion, Lee Lawton. Lee, how does it feel to have that crown on your head?
Very good indeed, very good indeed. Thought we had a good game. Michael just struggled a little bit throughout the game. The more I had hold of the block, the better I seemed to get with it. So, yeah, very pleased indeed.
You had a couple of moments throughout the tournament where it looked like you were going out, and you've come through them. I guess that's when you begin to believe it might be your year.
Yeah, I think you need little things like that, and hopefully you just get through them and go on and maybe to win it.
Michael, bring you in. Not quite your day in terms of the final itself.
No, Lee's played a better length than me. He's picked a good mark, he's played better, and as he says, he's scraped through a couple of rounds, whereas perhaps on the paper I've had the easier passage.
What will you reflect upon in the final, perhaps?
Well, I'll reflect upon the fact that the woods didn't act like mine would have done on the marks. You know, I really struggled.
Okay, Lee, I must ask you, you have normally a yellow bowl. Today you've got a blue one. You're also a Manchester City fan. Are you going to adopt blue in the future?
I could be converted, yeah. Hopefully, maybe. I might try and buy them woods and we'll see how we go.
Well, many congratulations. Thank you for an enjoyable final. Go and get your trophy.
Cheers, man. Thanks a lot. Well done. Cheers.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
I'd just like to welcome onto the green the presentation party, Mr. Tony Hargreaves, who's the estates manager of Greens Park Homes, our very generous sponsor along with East Riding Yorkshire Council. Give him a round of applause, please. And two other people who really do deserve a very loud round of applause. Ray Wardell, the Secretary of Bridlington Park Homes. They like you, Ray. And Mrs. Barbara Bulmer, who was actually playing in the competition yesterday, who is the President of Dukes Park Bowling Club. Thank you. And we're quickly going to get on with the presentations. We've just got a few before we get to the glass ones. We'll do that in a bit. And the men's consolation, first of all, from the Wirral, Robbie Fitzpatrick. And the four men's quarter-finalists. Yeah, if we can have the four men's quarter-finalists onto the green, please. Thank you. Unfortunately, one of them's had to go. And if we can have the two men's semi-finalists, please. And this is the bit that's going to be on TV, so we'll use the names now. And the runner-up in the inaugural Bridlington Masters, Michael Leach from Hothersall. And a fabulous winner, Lee Lawton from Failsworth. And there's some lovely crystal decanters for the winners to keep. Thank you, Lee. And now with one more presentation before I give the mic to Ray, and that's to the winner of the ladies' competition, and that was Jenna Goth from Cully. Thank you very much, Jenna. And finally, if you'll just give a couple of minutes for people to give us their comments.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the committee and members of Jones Park Bowling Club, I would like to thank our sponsors, Greens Park Homes, the East Riding of Yorkshire Council, the promoters in allowing us the honour of hosting such a prestigious event as the Bridlington Masters Crown Green Bowling Competition. Also the caterers, Les and Julie of the Rags Restaurant. As with many major sporting events, a myriad of people have been involved in the organisation and hosting. Their hard work has ensured that it has been an outstanding success for our club, and we would welcome the opportunity to host it again in the future. The competitors and spectators have spoken very highly regarding the condition of the bowling greens, a pleasure to bowl on, which is due to our club member, greenkeeper Glenn Chivers, and thanking you all for your contribution of a collection of £100. We hope everyone has enjoyed their visit to Jones Park and wish you all an enjoyable season. Mr. Glenn Chivers, Jones Park Greenkeeper. Right, thank you very much for you all. Thank you.
Yeah, not like you.